we've got our deputy Chuck Reeder in today. I was thinking of Billy. I'm sorry because it seems like you two, Chuck, are always together.
We are.
Yeah.
We work good together.
Our Marine deputies. It was an easy call since he showed up with a boat today. Sometimes you have the better side of things. You don't have to be. That's your patrol vehicle.
It is. Yeah, I try to get out on the water as much as I can, and especially in the summer, we've got to make hay while the sun shines, so to speak, and we go out there and make as many contacts as we can, and talk to as many people as we can, and try to prevent any accidents we can while we're out there.
Well, and that's a big part of educating our people. I still remember, and this was, year before last or so, I was reading an article. It was about Lake Billy Chinook. I'm sure it was named after our Billy Cloud.
Yes.
And the officer, there was a deputy that was talking about up there, said they had to resort to education by enforcement. Sometimes, you hate to go that far. You like to educate them.
I will say that we do, as Marine deputies, we do write a lot of written warnings, and we talk to people and educate as much as we can. But yeah, education through enforcement is necessary at times, unfortunately. So
one of the things too, and I with so many people, because you're definitely down there at Coanda Pacific City. How are we doing? There's more tourists showing up. How's our dory fleet doing down there?
Doing pretty good this year. I don't think we've had too much of an issue lately. I know that State Parks is putting a couple people on the beach there, one that goes up and down the big dune there, a heart attack hill, I call it.
Yeah.
Going up and down there. But yeah, but boy, there's a lot of people. We've had a few missing kids and some other things and some close calls, but lately we've been pretty good. I know that Deputy Mike Zimmerman has been down there a lot on the weekends. Okay. He's been assigned to stay on the beach there for a few days of the week. So I think, the more people we have down there, the more things work out for people. There's a lot of questions, and there's a lot of education there. People, we have, I think, a couple million visitors to that Cape every year. And it amazes me. A lot of people have never seen a dory boat or have never seen that area at all, and it's extremely beautiful, and it just lures them into those dangerous spots, those cliff areas and whatnot. So,
and sometimes, no matter how much you sign, no matter how much you educate, somebody's going to climb over a fence for a better picture, and that's just a slippery slope.
Right.
Sadly, no pun. I'm sorry, that was kind of mean, but
it is actually truly is a slippery area as far as cliffs and whatnot. But a lot of people, they bring their kids and their families, and they see this beautiful spot, and they turn everybody loose, and everybody goes a different direction. And we've got a lot of small kids, and I always cringe when I see small kids running around on those dunes and up on those cliff areas, and like, oh boy, I better go talk to them. So we try to, you can't talk to everybody. Sometimes I find that, my voice is dwindling by the end of the day. But the community people, I see a lot of people that live down there. They do walk around. A lot of the dorymen even, they walk around, try to educate people and talk as much as you can. That's
a big part of it too, because we know you don't climb on a log, but if you saw someone on a log, you need to tell them.
Exactly. Yeah. If you see something that's about ready to happen, it probably is going to happen. So get over there and say something. Good point. I've been amazed. I've when I first started this job, there was times where I was amazed at the things that do happen to folks, and now I know that this stuff can and will happen, and I do as much as I can to prevent it. So
we keep our search and rescue less active. The young girl just up there at Banks that went for a run. It's so easy to get turned around in the woods.
Yeah, that had a good outcome.
Yes, it did.
That was great. But yeah, I was worried for a few minutes there.
Well, that's what I've been up in the woods, and I said, no, to heck with this. I'm gonna you go ahead and finish. I'm gonna go back to the pickup.
Oh yeah, we've had.
So I find a big stump that I can see the ocean from, and I just wait until they get back to the pickup and honk the horn, because I have no idea. I got lost just that quick in an area that I knew.
It's amazing. Yeah, you can get turned around just on a few of these trails around here. A lot of these elk and deer trails, they go a little ways and then they they go into brush. So, and you know, and the thing about it is these people, everybody's got a cell phone now. It seems like, or most people. So, and it's, you know, if you go out on an elk trail and it disappears into the brush and you don't really know which way to go, it's usually better just to call for search and rescue.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you end up on an elk trail 10 miles another direction, and then we've got a serious issue. Yeah. We've got people searching everywhere, and where it could have been more of a within a mile radius or a half a mile or a quarter mile radius, it turns into a 10-mile radius search.
That's a good point, and that makes, again, folks, if you're going to go out in an area, maybe narrow it down. Instead, I'm going to be up in the woods. Maybe say I'm going to be off Kansas Creek, or I'm going to be out of Blaine or something like that.
Yeah, if we have any clues whatsoever to work with, just a note left or a message left for a phone call, because we don't have self-service everywhere. Yeah, that can sure help us out.
Yeah. Now, with that kind of boat, do you go outside very much? What do you do?
Just on nice days, if the swell is pretty small and the ocean is and the bar is open, I'll go out and I'll go out to Twin Rocks, or I'll go down to Three Arch, and I make an occasional trip down to Cape Kiwanda, and I'll check a few boats, or I'll check. It's amazing what you'll find out there. Sometimes you'll find people out on they'll stand up paddle boards, or even a small rubber raft out on the ocean, just paddling. And like, where's your life jackets? Life jackets. We always push those. But yeah, if on those beautiful days, I'll go out on the ocean a little bit. But most of the time, I'm in the bay.
Yeah, I know that tuna's getting closer all the time, but that don't mean it's all that warm out there yet.
No, the temperature is up a little, but yeah, it's still super cold. It'll still get you.
And that's when people, and sadly, I think it was, I can't remember, maybe 3-4 years ago, that young fellow, I think it was from Woodburn, and his buddies, and one of them decided to swim out to the rocks. And you just, you're doing fine, but then that cold water, it's going to get you.
Take some sort of flotation device with you. I've seen quite a few of these stand-up paddleboards lately on the ocean. It's kind of a new thing, and what I'm not seeing is quite a few of them don't have leashes, and you always need a leash. Is that line connected to your ankle or your wrist to the board, and with those also, believe it or not, if you're out paddling in the bay or out past the waves in the ocean, you're required to wear a life jacket and have a sound producing device with those also. So, but those leashes are critical to keep that board with you, because if that board leaves you, you're going to be swimming. So,
Chuck, we got to do another spot. I know Billy voiced that one. We're going to do another spot to help educate people, because what you just said makes total sense, and I think there are probably a few people. Oh, I didn't think of that.
Yeah, there is some carriage requirements on those type of boards. So people aren't always aware of educated on that kind of stuff either. They just go buy one and they head to the beach
they do it. It's kind of like let's go play in the sand. You forget the flag, dude.
Yeah, the flag. Yeah.
There are certain things that you need to pay attention.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah. So. Hold on a second. We're visiting with our Marine Deputy Chuck Reeder, but we're going to be right back. If Shaena, here it is, right here. Our Tillamook County has a rich and fascinating history, from the time of its earliest natives to the landing of Captain Patrick Gray in Tillamook Bay, who thought he had found the great river of the West. As the county was settled into the mid-1800s, its abundant natural resources spurred the development of timber, fishing, and dairy industries. These helped develop the landscape into the beautiful and diverse county that we know today. Join Tillamook Bay Community College instructor John Sandusky for an enlightening overview of our county's history, industry, and lifestyle. Spend the afternoon exploring the history of Tillamook County and learn what it means for our future. To register, call 503-842-8222, and that's extension 1310. This one-day seminar is held August 3rd from noon to 5 at TBCC. That sounds kind of interesting. Yeah.
Sounds nice.
Chuck, were you always from here? You were raised here, weren't
Born
you?
at the hospital here in Tillamook, yep.
Yeah, kind of know your way around. Does it make it a little bit easier sometimes when you really know your area?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was the family. My dad always tells the story. Yeah, they were all up the Kelchis swimming, and I was in being born at the hospital here. So it was
okay. They are tough because that cold Kilchis is cold.
Yeah, it is. It's
they were
cold.
young. The
Yeah,
youngsters
they were
can still
young, yeah.
swim in the Kilchis.
That's right. So, but yeah, born and raised here in Tillamook. So
you've seen some changes in our department, and one of the things I think they've probably seen it in all departments. Your ability, the technology, what you have now at ready access has probably changed just in the years you've been on the force.
Oh, rapidly changed. I remember when Jim Wagner, another Marine deputy that worked here, he got his first one of those cell phones in the bags, and all that stuff, and from handwriting this and that to, really collecting a lot of data, which we spend a lot of time writing reports and collecting data into a big database now that goes statewide. So a lot of changes in policies and procedures over the years, and mostly for the good.
Mostly for the good.
Yeah.
I remember my brother when he first started out. Of course, he started for Gresham in '76, but I can remember the little notebooks. I mean, I still the notebooks after notebooks, which now you can do your record keeping and it certainly gotta make it better when you say, when did I do that?
Yeah. We still carry our little notebooks and handwrite a lot of our notes all the time, but we immediately take those and put them on a computer. But boats are better boats, better equipment, better trucks. It seems like I used to drive an old bread van when I first started working here.
We are pretty teched up. Our search and rescue and some of the things that are available now, that's pretty impressive to me. We don't, like I say, we don't like to give those guys any jobs, but when they get one, that and the volunteers, you were just and training is an ongoing thing, whether it be with your handguns, but didn't you just got back from some training down on the Rogue?
I did, yeah. We always, meet as a group. There's a bunch of instructors and students that go down on the lower Rogue, and we train in swift water for rescues. We've got a little bit of that swift water around here, so it comes in handy if there's somebody stuck on the rock out in the middle of the river, or a tipped over drift boat, or a kayaker that's got stranded somewhere. So, but yeah, big training down on the Rogue. That's beautiful country down there. Lots of big water. So. That's annual for us down there. So
when you think about it, now this time of year, it's kind of nice. Other than you've got 100 times more people at least than you usually have. But in the wintertime, when you've got the high water and some rough surf, and it can be kind of difficult. You've got a lot more boaters because of the fishermen, and of course they know No, I'm being mean. They sometimes think they know more than they do.
No, I can recall in recent history, well, not too many years back, Fawcett Creek. We had some big rescues over there, and that was like the Rogue River. The amount of volume of water that was flowing down just Fawcett Creek was amazing on that flooding weekend there, and it was. Yeah, I mean
Was that where we lost the bridge? Was that Fawcett Creek? We lost the bridge on that.
It was a washout there. Yeah. So, I mean, we get some big water occasionally. So.
And you've got some great partners because you've got on the OSP side and probably Fish and Wildlife. You got some good partners.
Yeah,
out there,
the Coast Guard guys really help us out too. They're a good resource, and they take care of most of our issues on the ocean. But yeah, we've got some great partners around. So we're lucky. A lot of different resources here.
Well, isn't that how our Marine deputies, part of your funding comes from? Is it NOAA? Where does it?
The Oregon State Marine Board.
Oregon State Marine Board.
Yeah. So through the sheriff's office. Yeah.
And I think the same way when I look at our forestry, like Dean, the ODF helps with that.
ODF and ATV funds. Yeah.
If you had to pick one, I guess, I don't know, I think being a Marine deputy would be a little more interesting. Did you kind of lean that?
Yeah,
personally, yeah, that's what I want to be. That's
yeah.
Because you like the water.
I do. I've always, my dad was a commercial fisherman, had his own big boat growing up, and he worked for Garibaldi Charters. And, I've always been around the water and I had a love for the water. So that's where I want to be, so out on the water. So. If
there was anything you could encourage people to pay attention to, I was Garibaldi days. The Coast Guard Auxiliary was there. I I'm thinking about getting the boats inspected and things like that.
Yeah.
Anything that people can do to make your job easier?
Well, the travesties that we normally have certain elements involved with them, and the elements are a big outgoing tide usually, where a boat anchor will not hold, or a boat anchor is completely absent in the boat. If people will just put their life jackets on, it's hard to put your life jackets on after your boat is capsized. And we always see that where, if we have a boating fatality, it's hard for me to pick up those life jackets off the beach. If they would have just been on that person, we'd have had a total different outcome. So those are hard things for a Marine deputy, to see that equipment that was required was in the boat, but it just wasn't able to be used.
Yeah.
A lot of people tell me as a Marine deputy that, we weren't, like, if I'll get an emergency tow where I'll tow somebody in where their anchor was kind of holding, and I got out there and towed them back to the dock where their engine went out. When they tell me things like, oh yeah, we were not in any danger, we could have swam in at any point. It takes a really strong swimmer. I don't even know if Michael Phelps himself could make it in on some of those tides where it's just really racing out and the water's cold and it shocks you when you hit the water. I just think that, that as a Marine deputy, if we could get people to just wear their jackets if they're within a certain distance or any distance from the bar area, that seems to be, Netart's Bar, one of my favorite areas to work in Netart's Bay. It's taken an average of 1 to 2 people every year since I've been working since the early 90s. And
it's deceptive, isn't it?
It's deceptive. It's so gorgeous, but the bay can be as calm as glass. But that ocean, when you capsize a boat and you head out into that surf can be huge, and you're going into those huge waves, and you just don't last very long in it. You can only battle that for a few minutes. And
paying attention, this has been some years ago. Scott Perkins was still working for Bay City, so probably a dozen years ago, and he had complete faith in this fellow that he was with. Them and John Law and another guy who were out in this fellow's boat, Netart's Bay.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, the motor died right there in the bar.
It can happen to a brand new motor.
Well, this time it was kind of foolish. They forgot to vent the gas tank.
Oh yeah, that happens a lot.
And so that small, and once they realized, then they were able to fire it back up and get out of there. But once that happens,
I can probably name hundreds of times that I've been out checking boats, and there'll be a guy over there cranking, pulling on the lanyard, or you're trying to get a motor to start, electric start or whatever, and you're cranking on it, and I'll reach over inside the boat and vent that gas tank, and it'll just go psst, it'll make that noise where it's getting air inside of it. And I said, there you go, that's your problem, have a good day. It's just simple stuff like that.
Yeah. And so being aware of your surroundings, being equipment ready, and so easy. They've even got kind of cool life jackets now. It's not these big, bulky, difficult to wear things.
No, they're great. They're easy to use. They're, all styles, different styles and sizes, and as long as they have that Coast Guard approval on them, they're good to go. I mean, there's some inflatables out there that are pretty expensive, but there's some inflatables that you can't even hardly tell you're wearing a life jacket that are pretty reasonable now. I mean, $60, $70 they're getting down to now, which is pretty reasonable for an inflatable with CO2 cartridge in it. But the regular old style jackets, they'll work just as good as the new.
They work just fine. Put those on the kids. Put them on yourself, and
Even now, we've had a lot of these stations at the Netart's is the only place I don't think has one now, but Garibaldi has one now where they're loaner stations where if you don't have a life jacket...
I've seen those up there on the Lake Lytle. They've got some.
Lake Lytle's got one. Wheeler, has got one. Most places have them. But I carry around life jackets that I give away. A lot of people will give me their life jackets, and if they're still in good working order, I give them out. I have a bag full of them in the back of my truck right now. So
That's good to hear.
yeah.
We're visiting with our Marine Deputy Chuck Reeder. We're going to take another short break because you could step back in time the third weekend in August. Just a $20 ticket for those 12 and over allows admission to Tillamook County Pioneer Museum, Garibaldi Maritime Museum, Latimer Quilt and Textile Center, Tillamook Air Museum, the International Police Museum of Rockaway Beach, and the Northwest Old Iron Club, plus a ride on the Oregon Coast Scenic Railroad, and the Cape Mears Lighthouse and the Tillamook Forest Center round out the weekend. You can purchase tickets at any of the venues and plan to step back in time the third weekend in August. I was visiting with Gary Albright from the museum about that yesterday. That's an amazing 3 days, and when I saw the collection, it's kind of like the other day we were doing a thing to get ready for the Pearl, and we were going to count the businesses in Bay City. We think there's not very many businesses in Bay City. You think of the Handle Factory and Pacific Seafood and the Smoker. We got 25 of them.
Wow.
I know.
I didn't know that. That's quite a few.
That's the Pearl's coming up. The mayor and the council are going to man the business tent, and so we were making sure that everybody got involved. And I said that's really cool because there's so much in this county.
Yeah.
Chuck, and you've got the historical knowledge. I've been up that area before.
Yeah, and I like the idea of the new little what are they? The little
Oregon Coast
carts?
Rail Riders.
Yeah.
Those are really fun.
I've seen those. That's a nifty new business there in Bay City too.
It is. It's attracting some people, real nice people that own it, and it's kind of fun to do. It's you can find out folks about it. It's Oregon Coast Rail Riders, but they run Thursday through Monday, and $20.
Yeah,
and it's I went
That's
out
a cool
on
adventure.
It is, and you really do see stuff that you just don't see very often.
Yeah,
because you don't follow the rail.
Yeah.
Anyway,
very neat.
So, Chuck, now you've got around the corner. We're going to have a lot more people over here for the fair. You're going to work at the fair a little bit too, or everybody
I will be
does?
there. Yes.
Yeah, I see you there.
Yeah, I'm on the schedule. Sergeant Fox gave us our schedules, and I'm on the fair schedule, which I always, it's usually a fun day. I mean, there's usually, it's really a good family-oriented fair, and there's only a few people that, we maybe have to escort out of the fair once in a while, so it's usually pretty good.
The sheriff stops by. Andy stops by 3, I think, every day to just kind of let me know how we've been doing, and it usually is just that. Maybe somebody left their dog in the car. Don't take your dog to the fair with you.
Usually a few missing parents or missing kids.
Yeah,
that kind of stuff. Pretty low key usually, but we make a good effort to, put quite a few personnel out there to make it safe for the families.
That does make a difference. You got a good partner, the other outfit that shows up every year. You guys seem to work really well together. Yeah. So sometimes I'm sorry to say I believe that the fear of getting caught keeps a lot of people honest. So it doesn't the presence.
It does. Yeah. If there's a cop on every little corner at the fair, there's probably not going to be too much happen. So hopefully we'll cross our fingers and have a good fair again this year.
But and folks, again, when our tourist season's here, and it's here, they didn't all of a sudden give the sheriff department 5 times as many people to cover the same area.
No, our personnel hasn't changed much over the last few years, but man alive, it seems like places like Cape Kiwanda, boy, and they're just, more people every year. More
people every year. That's not likely to change. So if you see something, and Sergeant Plummer told me that one time. I said, "What should I do if I see someone doing something?" He says, "If it's a crime, dial 911."
Oh, absolutely.
And
Don't
if you see someone driving erratically or something like that, that's a crime. It's and now most of our cars, we can just tell them to do that. So it's
right. We've got all our families out in the community, and if people are driving drunk or boating drunk or anything like that, don't hesitate to call 911. And I've always noticed that sometimes for drunk boaters or different things, some people are hesitant to call.
Yeah.
And but on those priority calls, we take extra effort to get out there. We get a lot of low key calls, but those priority calls, where it involves public safety, where we get right to them. So
well, and you're stretched thin, but there's anything to get involved? Are we looking for any reservists or anything like that now, or?
Oh, there's always a need for reserves at the sheriff's office. I know that at different times Sergeant Fox puts out something in the paper to actually do a class. I don't know if we've actually done a class here for a little bit, but we usually do one every year or two, so I don't know when the next one's coming up. So
it doesn't hurt to check in with the sheriff's department if it's
check in with the front desk.
It's been a good career, hasn't it, Chuck?
Oh, it's been great. Yeah. It's a lot of good experiences, good people to work with, and very rewarding career. I enjoyed it.
Well, I enjoyed having you stop by. We've got a few birthdays. Let's see, Randy Wagner, Phil Bierman, and Lorraine Ortiz. Happy birthday to all three of you. Chella Herder's going to stop by and talk about Moonlight Madness. It's only a week till Moonlight Madness, and then it'll be the fair. And
can't believe it.
Yep, Moonlight Madness is a week from tomorrow. Senior meals, noon every weekday at the Kiwanda Community Center in Pacific City. And it's that time of year again. They're getting the fairgrounds ready. Yesterday they worked on cleaning up and setting up for the 4-H dairy and livestock. And today there's working on the 4-H exhibit hall setup from 1 to 2 and small animal setup from 5:30 to 7. And farmers markets tomorrow, Manzanita from 5 to 8. Good time to make a connection with some of our local farmers up there. Saturday, Tillamook. Our Tillamook is 9 to 2. It's Senior Appreciation Day. Daniel Cecil is playing live, and the Serenity Club is at the community table. Saturday also down south, you got the Nesquin Farmers Market from 9 to 1. And Sunday, Pacific City 10 to 2. Whiz Kids Day at the Pacific City Farmers Market in the library parking lot. Free fun for the family Oregon Coast Dance Center show. Hands-on community arts, sing-along, book giveaway. So there's going to be even more people down in Pacific City again this weekend. They just come out of the woods, don't they?
Oh, they do.
Over the hill. Chuck, thanks again for stopping by.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Tillamook.